Hey everybody, welcome back for the fourth installment of our street tracker project. Since the last video, I've gone back and laid down a few more layers of fiberglass for rigidity, and I've gone ahead and drilled the holes and mounted the seat, and now we're ready for filler and final prep before we send this thing off to paint. So we're done with filler, and I'm going to come back later and follow up with some icing to fill in any minor imperfections or scratches. So I'm going to take a minute now to make sure to get the profile, the lines on the edge of the tail the way that they were intended to be, and then I'm going to use this block here to make sure that the edges are symmetrical from side to side. I'm also going to really focus on the back tip of the tail and making sure that that radius is as symmetrical as possible as well. And then we're going to actually flip this thing over. I'm going to smooth out the inside, especially close to the edges, and make sure it's a nice clean rounded off edge for the paint to wrap around and adhere well. So we're just going to spend a little time getting this cleaned up before we move on to the final stages. So I've got a layer of icing down, which is intended to be the final step before priming. I'm just trying to smooth out any remaining scratches or minor low spots and imperfections, and I'm actually not sure if I've got this icing mixed up thoroughly enough because it came out a lot thicker than I anticipated, but it's what I've got for now, so we're just going to keep plugging away and see what kind of results I get. I think I started out with some 50 grit on my sanding block to go ahead and knock down any of the high spots or really thick parts of icing. Same with the filler. And then I'm going to go ahead and step that paper up to a 120 and to a 180 to get it as smooth as possible before we send it on to the primer stage. And in between the grit stages, I'm going to go ahead and put a light coat down of guide coat. The same thing I used when we were doing the filler, and it's just going to help you to identify any scratches from the previous grit and identify any of the low spots, which is really just going to make my entire job easier. One tip I've recently picked up and wanted to pass on was about this little red piece of Scotch-Brite that I've been using. Just to scuff and keep my piece of sandpaper clean on my sanding block. Because one issue I've always had in the past when sanding dry is getting buildup in the sandpaper, which not only dulls out the sandpaper, but then it leaves little tiny scratches in the finish of whatever you're trying to smooth over. So if you just scuff it off with a red Scotch-Brite pad every now and then, it helps keep that paper clean, especially when you're getting into the finer grits, which really have a tendency to build up. And so this was an awesome little trick that I wish I could remember who I picked it up from, so I apologize for that. But I just want to pass that on to whoever else it might help. So that should wrap it up and have this tail ready to head off for primer and paint. And thanks for watching the video, and if you wouldn't mind doing so, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to get a notification when I put out the next video when I get this tail back from paint and we can check out the final product. Thanks again for watching.